Hey, today is National Drink Beer Day. Yes, National Drink Beer Day. And I am sure there are plenty of people out there who every day is National Drink Beer Day. And I enjoy myself a nice cold beer as well. Although I am a Guinness fan and I don't necessarily like my Guinness cold. I like it kind of room temperature. Anyway, but I have to say, after some of the craziness as far as politics here in the U.S. over the past couple of days, I sure could use a beer. I'm going to take a guess that everybody out there probably needs a beer as well. Anywho, let's get down to it. TGIF gang, and the Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com. And today is Friday, September 28th. It is the last Friday in September. Pretty wild. This is actually episode 170 of The Daily Dope. Pretty amazing. Wow, just... I didn't even think I'd do 50 episodes. But I'm having fun, and hopefully everybody out there watching is having a good time too. So, got a bunch of stuff today. Actually, I'm going to be unboxing and taking a look at Cthulhu Tales from my friends over at Cubicle 7 Entertainment. I've got some news as well. But I do want to open the show, and I want to be serious for a couple of minutes. And I will actually mark in the timestamps on the video once the live stream is over when I'm done pontificating about this, because I know a lot of people out there hate whenever I talk about things that are like political or in the news and things like that. So I'm going to make this short. It is not going to be political, but it's something that needs to be said. So if you need to skip ahead, that's fine. If you need to give me a thumbs down on the video because of this, whatever, that's fine as well. But you have to live under a rock not to have seen what's going on with the Supreme Court nomination of Brett Kavanaugh. And I'm going to be the first to say, I don't know what happened. I don't know these people. I was not there. So I'm not picking sides here, right? I have my own personal beliefs, and that I will keep to myself. But I'll tell you one thing that I saw that's come out of this whole rigmarole, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, and I found it horrifying, was I saw some women down in Florida who were voters. I'm not going to say what party they vote for, and they were being asked about these allegations against Judge Kavanaugh, and the responses terrified me. One woman said, well, times were different back then, and boys acted different back then. Somebody else said, oh, boys will be boys. And a third was talking about how, well, at that age, you've got all this testosterone just boiling over in you. You should be able to expect these things to happen. What? I'm sorry, but those women, and they looked like they were the age where they would have teenage, high school age, college age sons and daughters, right? And I would hope that this is not how they taught their children, because I'm going to be a little spicy here with my language for a second. That's bullshit. That is bullshit. Now, personally, I am 50 years old. I will turn 51 next month. And I was in high school in 1982, the same time that Judge Kavanaugh was in high school. I know what high school was like. I had testosterone raging through my body. I still probably have way more testosterone than I need. But that kind of behavior has never been acceptable. Sexually abusing someone of either gender, any gender, is unacceptable. It's unacceptable now. It was unacceptable back in the 80s. It was unacceptable in the 17th century. So I would hope that those of you out there who have children, or yourselves, you're you find yourself dealing with people all the time, understand that is not behavior that is acceptable. That is not the norm. And the funny thing is, I've never run into any problems in my life because I've always treated people of every gender with respect. Some with more respect than others, right? So, if somebody wasn't cool to me, I may not necessarily be cool to them, but I would certainly have never, ever considered doing any of these things that have been talked about in the news recently. So I did want to mention that, did want to throw that out there. And I am certain that the vast majority of people who actually watch the Daily Dope are not like that, and they don't teach their children to be like that. But you never know, and it just needed to be said. All right, so anyway, let's talk about fun stuff. Let's talk about games. I do want to point out, if this is your first time tuning in, and it very well could be, this is a live stream. It is streamed through YouTube. There is chat available. It is not on screen, and that's one of the ways that I kind of keep some of the stranger commenters at bay. But if you are watching live, feel free to say hello. If you got a question, comment. If you want to get a closer look at something while we're taking a peek at Cthulhu Tales, by all means, chime in and I will respond. Okay, so let's jump into today's gaming news. I do have to admit, I normally don't devote a couple of news pieces to a single Kickstarter, but there is one that is wrapping up very, very shortly, and I gotta admit, it deserves some extra attention. And it's Dark Domains from Laboratory H. And yes, I've got the dope. In Dark Domains, each player takes on the role of a city leader attempting to expand the frontier of Harrows into the hinterland. Unbeknownst to the powers in Harrows, some of those leaders, namely the players, are secretly evil to the core and in the thrall of the Necromancer. Once away from the bustling city and the oversight of the courts, those overlords create domains that outwardly appear to be beacons of light and hope. Eventually, however, their true colors will come through, and those upstanding pillars of the community will retreat to their lairs as a masquerade ends, and their lands begin to decay into wastelands, overrun by foul monsters and nefarious henchmen. I wish I had some nefarious henchmen. But all is not peaches and cream in the land of darkness. Wouldn't it be more like all's not piss and vinegar? I don't think they enjoy peaches and cream being bad guys. Harrows is a home to the famous Tauren Company and its never-ending supply of heroes and adventurers. Once the word reaches Harrows that darkness is afoot in the domains, it is only a matter of time before these nosy adventurers begin to seek out the dens of horror to stop the evil. Dark Domains is a worker placement game where 2 to 5 players attempt to create a domain that provides them the most evil depicted in the game by skulls. Players must use minions, henchmen, monsters, and magic to stamp out the good, repel the Tauren Company, and cover their land in darkness. Tarot cards are used in the game as events to liven up each turn and to regulate the phases of the game. There is a fairly short Kickstarter video that Laboratory H has put together, so let's take a look.
Many centuries ago, the first great empire of men fell to the forces of light. Now stands the noble city of Harrows and its surrounding domains. How magnificent. How oblivious. Embrace the twists of fate. Prepare for your moment of glory. Send forth your minions. Gather your resources. Hire henchmen to do your bidding. Learn the powerful ways of magic. Expand your settlements. Misdirect the city defenders. Add to the wealth of your people. And when your rivals least expect it, with the city quiet and complacent, when the time is just right, you'll betray them all. For the Necromancer, bring order to your domain. Unleash terrible and ferocious monsters to defend your wicked land and people. Draw upon ancient magic to protect your realm, or rain horror upon your rivals. Too long have we lurked in the shadows. Too long have we hidden our true selves. Reject the light. The necromancer will rise once again. And all will tremble when he finally is revealed. Your time has come. The time is now. Claim what is rightfully yours. Dark Domains.
I have to say that Dark Domains is for 2 to 5 players, ages 14 and up, and plays in about 2 hours. The project is currently just under 400% funded, and you can reserve a copy for a $65 pledge just for a couple more days. It's going to end in 2 days. The expected delivery of the game is actually September of next year. Gotta admit, Dark Domains does look pretty cool. Jeff and Carla Horger are part of the design team. And if you're not familiar with them, if you have played the awesome racing game Thunder Alley, it's stock car racing. I guess you can't really say NASCAR without paying up, right? I'm not a NASCAR fan. I am not a stock car fan. Awesome game. So they are part of the design team. Looks very, very interesting. And I know I've talked about, like when I talk about role-playing games, I have never been someone who plays like an evil character. I don't run campaigns where the characters are evil. They may be a little morally ambiguous at times, but they're not evil. I don't have a problem with that in a board game. So, for a couple hours, I don't mind being, the bad guy. Plus, I was a huge fan back in the day of Dungeon Master, if anybody remembers that. It is what it was. No, it was Dungeon Keeper. I want to say it was Dungeon Keeper. Man, what a great game. There were two of those. So pretty cool. So if it looks interesting, be sure to check out the Kickstarter. You only got a couple of days left to get on board. So how's about some convention news? How's that grab you? Well, actually, this is something that's taking place in South Carolina, so maybe I shouldn't use that kind of voice. But the folks over at Tantrum House are prepping for their Tantrum Con early next year, and I've got the dope. What to expect at Tantrum Con 2019? There will be tons of opportunities to learn new games, play with new friends and old, hang out with the Tantrum House crew, as well as lots of other board game personalities, and generally have the time of your life. Our board game library will be open 17 hours a day. Kind of odd. 17 hours, okay? Our dedicated GMs will be teaching games all day. The Tantrum House crew will be shooting live reviews, podcast interviews, and shows each day that you can be involved in. Board game demos and tournaments will be scheduled to take place throughout the day, and it'll pretty much be the most fun Spartanburg, South Carolina has ever known. Now, I keep mentioning throughout the day, but this convention will run for 3 days. They are working on a number of premium events. They will cost a little extra. I believe there is a premium pass that you can purchase. But those premiums are going to feature food, giveaways, and prestigious game masters. You'll want to register now because you don't want to miss an extensive board game library, awesome vendors, daily raffles, legit tournaments. I don't know, I've never played in a non-legit tournament or illegitimate tournament. Board game giveaways, pre-released board game demos, live Tantrum House show recordings, insane social games. Hopefully those games aren't going to drive you insane. There's also going to be a dedicated kids gaming area and much, much, much more. So if you want to see a quick wrap up of I believe it was a game day that Tantrum House did last year, I think. Not sure, because they are saying this is the initial Tantrum Con, which is the 3 days. So I think this was a game day they did last year. But anyway, there's a very short video, so why don't we take a peek?
Oh, sorry.
Tantrum Con 2019 will take place February 15th through the 17th at the Spartanburg Marriott Hotel and Event Center. Badges for the 3-day event are normally going to carry a cost of $60, but right now you can score an early bird special. It is a special price of $54 through October 1st. So if you are interested in checking it out, be sure to reserve your badge early. I think if memory serves me correctly, I took a peek. I think the premium badge was $90, which if there's free food and stuff involved with it, that's not too bad. That's not too shabby. So do have to point out, I know folks out there are going to be thinking, oh, well, yeah, that looks like a pretty small show. It didn't look like tons and tons of people there. Come on. I mean, you know, PAX wasn't huge when it first started off, right? Origins wasn't huge. Gen Con was tiny. What, first Gen Con, didn't that pull in, I think, like 70 people, 65 people, something like that? Of course, now we are talking way back in the day. But still, this should be fun. I would think this would be pretty cool. Now, I had to joke, Will from Tantrum House, and I don't know these folks, right? I mean, I'm aware of them, but I don't know them. I emailed back because I had a little news piece, right? And I said, what? I'm supposed to promote a convention organized by the competition? It's like, of course I will. People who watch the Daily Dope, people who follow the gaming gang, they know I've never looked at this kind of stuff like competitions. But that's probably why 8 years in, I don't make much money doing this. What do you mean make much? I don't make anything. I lose money. But I have to admit, kind of talking about conventions, not talking necessarily about Tantrum Con, I'm amazed that the city of Chicago does not have a halfway decent sized game convention, even if it were just for a couple of days. Now I'm talking overall gaming, because there is a Adepticon that takes place that is all, you know, miniatures games, usually kind of science fiction oriented miniatures games. I almost said video games. What the hell am I thinking? Duh. See what happens? It's Friday. I'm just like, oh, and I'll tell you another reason why I'm a little discombobulated too, but I'll talk about that in just a sec. But I'm really surprised. Now, there is a show that's coming to St. Charles in November. I was thinking it was October, but it's in November. I want to say it's the weekend before Thanksgiving or after Thanksgiving that we are going to check out. But it's not all gaming. It's kind of more kind of geek culture-ish show. I'm really surprised. I am very, very surprised that Chicago does not have a gaming convention, especially when for years Mayfair Games was right in Skokie, Illinois. And if you are familiar with the Chicago area, it's like, here's Chicago, there's the suburb of Skokie. It's right there. You can get on it, get to Skokie on buses right out of the city. So I'm very surprised, very surprised. All right, so I've got a trio of videos to share with you today. I know, isn't that weird? So Sarah Newton and the team over at Mindjammer Press have a new role-playing game Kickstarter, and I've got the dope on the Chronicles of Future Earth. The cosmic fantasy role-playing game, The Chronicles of Future Earth, powered by Fate Core. In the last centuries of the 5th Cycliad, that's my pronunciation, I'm sticking with that, a great malaise began to descend on the lands of humankind. The great civilizations of the earth, which for eons had seemed on the verge of slumber, have now finally begun to rot from within. From the edges of the world, the ever-present enemies drew close, their hungry claws poised to tear apart the delicate flesh of a fruit 100 millennia in the ripening. Yummy. And all around, I'm adding that yummy part. And all around, a cry arose for heroes to stand against the dying of the light and to save the world from the sins of its past. Imagine our own planet Earth 100,000 years from now. Okay, I'm imagining, and I don't see humanity on it. Anyhow, technological civilization has fallen, lost in a mysterious cataclysm tens of millennia ago. The world has regressed to an ancient world feel, but built on the ruins of the past. Sounds a little like Necra... not Necra, oh my god, it's right on the top of my head. Numenera. Necromunda, that's a Games Workshop miniatures game. This does sound a little bit like Numenera. Anyway, technological artifacts barely understood still remain, but now there are gods too, and demons, and strange sorceries which can summon them and use their powers. The world is unutterably old, on the verge of decadence, slumber, and decay, just waiting for that final storm to sweep it away. That final storm is here. Chaos descends from the north. Ancient enmities shake the springtide civilizations from within. Sleeping technologies awaken beneath cities older than history. The venerable autocracy of Saqqara, oldest empire in the world, is all that stands between humankind and annihilation. Welcome to the Kickstarter for the Chronicles of Future Earth, the brand new cosmic fantasy role-playing game from Mindjammer Press. Set in the far, far future, oh yeah, it's far, of our planet Earth, it's a game of sorcery and demons, of fallen civilizations and ancient technologies, of monsters and mysteries and mind-shattering dimensions. We hope you'll join us and help us produce this brand new game line. Our initial goal is to fund a 244-page full-color hardback core book of the Chronicles of Future Earth, together with a starter pack of a GM screen, map of Korudav, I'm assuming that's kind of the land that the adventures shall take place, 25 fate tokens, 4 Chronicles dice, and a dice bag. We're calling this the Chronicler Pack. It's available right from the start, and there are some amazing pledge deals in it. With your help, we'll go beyond that, adding new material to the Chronicler Pack, and going on to bring you a fascinating series of action-packed source books and adventures in the deadly dying days of the post-historical age. Mindjammer Press has put together a video. It is just a touch over 4 minutes long, just so you know, but it will give you a much, much better idea of the Chronicles of Future Earth. So, kick back and give it a watch.
In the last centuries of the 5th Cycliad, a great malaise began to descend on the lands of humankind. The great civilizations of the earth, which for eons had seemed on the verge of slumber, now finally began to rot from within. From the edges of the world, the ever-present enemies drew close, their hungry claws poised to tear apart the delicate flesh of a fruit 100 millennia in the ripening. And all around, a cry arose for heroes to stand against a dying light and save the world from the sins of its past.
Chronicles of Future Earth is a game of forbidden magics, lost technologies, and strange dimensions. With gorgeous maps and artwork, and a deep, rich setting, it's a standalone game of cosmic fantasy adventure. I'm Sarah Newton, author of Mindjammer, the role-playing game. I've been working on the Chronicles of Future Earth for 20 years, and now, with Mindjammer Press, I'd like to present it to you as I've always dreamed of publishing it. Play warriors and generals, priests and sorcerers, artificers and healers, sages and thieves. Explore ancient ruins, vast civilizations, and uncover mysteries as old as the world. The Chronicles of Future Earth uses a modified version of the Fate Core system. You'll find rules for sorcery and demons, divine magic and miracles, inhuman artifacts and ancient technologies, and the many worlds and bizarre dimensions which exist in darkness and slumber beyond the thresholds of the planing machines. Please join us to make the Chronicles of Future Earth a reality. As well as a gorgeous core book, we're proposing a screen, dice and tokens, and a range of supplements detailing the springtide civilizations and the lands of future Earth. With your support, we'll bring you this fascinating new role-playing game in glorious detail.
The final storm is coming. Pick up your flame arts and mount your winged Elenisaur. Prepare your sorceries to summon the demons of time and incarnate the Lord of War on the battlefields against the Hagian Horde. It is the end of the 5th Cycliad, and the world cries out for heroes. Welcome to the Chronicles of Future Earth.
All right, that was kind of weird. The video didn't start up. I'm like, all right, well, I got 4 minutes to kind of kick back, grab a sip of diet soda. All right, okay. And all of a sudden I glance up and I'm like, how come the video's not playing? What's going on here? Oh, it's a live show. What can I tell you? What can I tell you? It's always some oddball thing. Oh, I have to admit, there are way less hiccups nowadays than there were when the show first started off. It's been a while since I started doing the show with the mic off. So, thumbs up on that. All right, so the Kickstarter for the Chronicles of Future Earth launched earlier today, and it's already reached about the 70% mark of its funding goal. Now, this was a couple hours ago, so it's possible it's funded now. I'm pretty sure it's going to fund today. You can reserve a copy of the core book in PDF for a $20 pledge, or you can go all in and grab that aforementioned Chronicler pack, which includes the physical book and PDF and plenty of other goodies. That is a $105 pledge, and this is all through October 28th. Expected delivery on both the physical and digital elements is actually April of next year. All right, so moving right along, do want to point out that, what in the world? I thought I had it all set up. I have one more news piece, but strangely enough, it is not up on the teleprompter, so I do want to share this with you, so give me a sec. I'm going to pull this, because I know exactly where it was. And I will actually just grab this. Yep, sorry about that. Hey, this is weird. I don't know. There must be something going on. I swear, I hope it. We better not be seeing. We better not be seeing the. Let me jump back here real quick. Whoops. All right, what the heck? All right, now the whole teleprompter thing just went blank. All right, that's fine. No big deal. I could pretty much covered everything I needed to cover anyway. All right, this is pretty exciting, right? Sitting there watching me screw around with this stuff live. Awesome. Jeez. All right, well, the reason why I wanted to get this news out there for you is because one of the most classic role-playing games is available right now as a bundle on Bundle of Holding. And I've got the dope. Adventurer. This Tunnels and Trolls bundle features Ken St. Andre's venerable tabletop fantasy role-playing game, Tunnels and Trolls, from Flying Buffalo. Since its 1975 debut, the second fantasy RPG ever published, the simple, high-spirited, and streamlined Tunnels and Trolls has stayed in print continuously from the same publisher in multiple editions by the same designer, and has remained rules compatible across all editions, an unequaled record of longevity. Do you have trouble finding players? Tunnels and Trolls is famous for its solitaire pick-a-path dungeon crawls. This bargain-priced offer presents no less than 11 solo adventures, most in their recently updated deluxe editions, along with several game-mastered modules. The 2015 Deluxe Rulebook, which was funded by a 2013 Kickstarter campaign, and more. For just $7.95, you will get all 12 titles in the Solitaire Collection, which carries a retail value of $47 as DRM-free PDF ebooks. It includes a fun 64-page manga-style set of Tunnels and Trolls Quick Start rules produced by TNT Adventures Japan, where actually Tunnels and Trolls is really big, and presented here in English translation. A perfect intro to the game, this booklet gives all the rules you need to play the solos in this collection, plus a solitaire and 2 game-mastered scenarios. You get 4 starting TNT solos: Battle School, Sea of Mystery, Sorcerer Solitaire, and the first solo RPG adventure ever published for any game, Buffalo Castle. You get 3 mid-level TNT solos: Agent of Death, Naked Doom, and Sewers of Oblivion, plus 3 killer TNT solos: Arena of the Kazan, Death Trap Equalizer Dungeon. Sounds like a TV show, right? And perhaps the most fondly remembered of all these solos, Michael A. Stackpole's City of Terrors. There's Goblin Lake, previously presented in the November 2016 Old School Revival 4. And then if you pay more than the threshold price of $19.13, you'll level up and also get the entire Game Master Collection with 9 more titles worth an additional $47. You'll get the latest and greatest version of the rules, the complete 386-page Deluxe Tunnels and Trolls Core Rulebook from 2015, plus the Deluxe GM screen. You'll get Monsters, Ken St. Andre's standalone spin-off game based on TNT that lets you play the monsters guarding your dungeon home from so-called heroic intruders. You'll get the Adventurer's Compendium, an 88-page collection of 9 solo adventures and 3 game-mastered scenarios unearthed from Sorcerer's Apprentice magazine. And then there's 4 classic TNT game-mastered scenarios: the complete Dungeon of the Bear, Dwarf World, 7 Challenges of Cardigan, and Uncle Ugly's Underground Doom. Plus, you will also get a reprint of the Tunnels and Trolls First Edition. It's a PDF scan of the original 43-page TNT rulebook from 1975, sufficient to play any of the solitaire adventures in this offer. Of course, this is something that you should take a peek at, and as always, whenever you get a bundle over at Bundle of Holding, 10% of your payment after payment gateway fees will go to a charity, and this time out, it is the Role-Playing Game Creators Relief Fund. All right, so there you have it. I gotta admit, I have not looked at Tunnels and Trolls since early 80s, I must admit. But there's a reason why Tunnels and Trolls has stayed popular throughout the decades. Part of it is, of course, because of all the solitaire adventures that have come out. And I think over the years, I think there's maybe 24. I don't know if you can still get your hands on all of them. I don't know if all of them are in PDF, but there have been quite a few. And there's always still new stuff that's coming out for Tunnels and Trolls. Of course, not like on a schedule like Paizo or Wizards of the Coast. But one of the other things that was a big deal with Tunnels and Trolls was that the group dynamic for the game is different, and it is unique. It's something very unique that you will not see it in other role-playing games. Just the way the group actually works together as a group. I'm not going to spoil anything for you. It is something that you should check out. Got to be very honest. For, what was it, 17? Let me jump back up here. I thought it was 1795. Let's take a look here. See, that's what happens when... Oh, 1913. Okay, so for 1913, you get all of this Tunnels and Trolls goodness. That's only like $4 more than the actual PDF for just the deluxe edition of Tunnels and Trolls goes for. So if you've ever had any inklings to check out Tunnels and Trolls, by all means, you really, really want to take advantage of this deal. Okay, wow, that is some craziness going on with the teleprompter and that video. Anyway, I was going to say, Microsoft better not be doing an update to Windows right now, because that always messes my programs up. And it always messes up the sync for the audio. So, and it's set to not update during this time. But I've seen it happen. It's like, Microsoft's like, I don't care if you own that computer. It's our program. We'll do what we want. All right, so one last news item. Didn't put any, slides or anything together about it, but you've got only a few more days to save at DriveThruRPG on their Chronicles of Darkness sale, which is basically old and new World of Darkness from both White Wolf as well as Onyx Path. 75% off. 75% off. I do have to point out the 5th edition of Vampire the Masquerade is not part of that deal. But if you have had, once again, any inkling of checking out like old editions of Vampire the Masquerade, or like the 20th anniversary Werewolf the Apocalypse, or Mage the Ascension, or Wrath, or was it? No, I'm sorry, I should say it was Wraith. This is the time to do it, because you can actually pick up the core books themselves are going for like $5 in PDF. So really, really good deal, but it ends at the end of September. It was for most of this month that was available out there. All right, so we'll be unboxing and taking a look at Cthulhu Tales in just a few minutes. A couple of things I wanted to mention. First of all, I have had some people asking, how come there aren't like news pieces been popping up on the Gaming Gang at night? Because normally what I'll do is I'll cover the news during the day, and then at night I post little articles, little news pieces about the news I talked about on the show. But that has not been going on for a few days. So, have to point out, I've been at Wrigley Field. So, I had the opportunity to catch the Cubs 4 straight days. I am a huge Cubs fan. If you watch the Daily Dope, you already know that. Every once in a while, I have a Cubs jersey on, one of my 2 Cubs jerseys, or one of my Cubs hats on. And so that was very cool. Unfortunately, they split the series with Pittsburgh, but that's why. I mean, people were like, hey, you feeling all right? And like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm as good as possible, right? You have a heart attack. It's not, it's not like, oh, I'm going to go out there and like run a marathon or anything like that. But yeah, I'm doing okay. Doing pretty good. So just wanted to point that out. That's why there hasn't been news. So what I'm going to do over the weekend is I'm going to catch up. I'm going to get a bunch of articles out there. Gosh, there's probably going to be like 20 posts. So sorry to inundate people on Twitter and Tumblr and Facebook, but and Google Plus. I won't forget Google Plus. So that's what's been going on. It's, I'm okay. Everything's cool. All right. So anyway, want to talk about what's coming up on shows next week. So once again, speaking health-wise, won't be a show on Tuesday because I'm going to see the primary care provider, primary care physician. And then Thursday, I'm not sure if there's going to be a show or not because I have another follow-up with my cardiologist. So, but I don't think it'll take that long. So I'm not sure about that. But Monday's show, marking October 1st, I am going to review Legends of Andor from Cosmos Games. It is a cooperative fantasy game. This has been out for a while. I say this came out in like 2012, 2013, but it is the first Cosmos game I have had an opportunity to review. I did an unboxing of it not too long ago. So that will be on Monday's show. Like I said, no show Tuesday. Wednesday, I will finally review Fort Sumter, The Secession Crisis, 1860 to 1861, from my friends over at GMT Games. It is designed by Mark Herman. It is Mark Herman's latest design. Up in the air as far as the Thursday show, but if there is one, I will be reviewing Tales from the Loop, Our Friends the Machines, and Other Mysteries. This is the supplement for the ultra-popular, award-winning Tales from the Loop. And then on Friday's show, I am going to review Barbarian Battlegrounds from Greenbrier Games. So, pretty funny. Pretty funny. Artwork's pretty funny. It's a game that plays unlike what you would guess from the artwork, but I will just leave it at that. What I might try to do over the weekend, and I never know. Sometimes I try to plan stuff, and then I get a call asking me that my brother and my sister-in-law really need me to watch the kids because nobody's going to be around because they both work for airlines. So I am going to try to see about shooting a couple of standalone videos. I'm not going to say what they are yet. And that way, I will actually put one of them up on Tuesday and maybe even put one up on Thursday if there isn't a show, or even if there is a show. Maybe I'll just put that up on Thursday. So just let everybody else know. All right, so I know folks are probably wondering, hey, when are you going to start looking at Cthulhu Tales, Jeff? Well, I'm going to start looking at it right now. Of course, the teleprompter's gone, so I'm going to have to do this off of memory a little bit. So, Cthulhu Tales is from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. It was released at the end of 2016. I think it flew under the radar a little bit. I will do the credits for the designers as well as the artists when I crack it open. Do want to mention it does carry an MSRP of $29.99, and I have seen it for as little as $9 through some online retailers. I'm not going to say who, because first of all, I know people get upset when I talk about buying from online retailers instead of their friendly local game store, and I don't try to like push people online, and I don't have any affiliation, right? The only affiliation I really have is Drive-Thru RPG. That's it. So anyway, let's take a peek. Let's switch on over to the other camera here, and it is designed by Francesco Nepatello and Marco Maggi, or is it Maggi? I think it's Maggi. All right, let's get the shrink off of this. In relating the circumstances which have led to my confinement within this refuge for the demented, I am aware that my present position will create a natural doubt of the authenticity of my narrative. From H.P. Lovecraft's The Tomb. Cthulhu Tales is a storytelling game for 2 to 5 players that lets you create stories inspired by the visionary works of H.P. Lovecraft, the Master of Providence. I don't think I've ever heard him referred to as the Master of Providence. In the game, you are the unwilling guests of an antiquated sanitarium called in turn, to describe the circumstances that led to your internment. Will your recollections convince everyone that you do not belong in a padded cell? I doubt it. But how will you explain the sinister events that preceded your incarceration? Unfortunately, your memories are populated by the stuff of nightmares. All right, so it is for 2 to 5 players, ages 15 and up. And that's obviously just because of the small pieces and stuff. But this is a horror game. This is a horror storytelling game. And I believe it plays in about 20 to 60 minutes, if memory serves me correctly, what I saw. So, not long ago, well, okay, I shouldn't say not long ago. I'm sure it's been quite a while. I reviewed Hobbit Tales from Cubicle 7, which is a storytelling game very, very similar in style to Cthulhu Tales, and I liked it. I thought it was a fun game. Probably not for everybody. You got to be fairly imaginative, but honestly, I think Cthulhu Tales is probably a better fit because Hobbit Tales is you were telling stories, of course, based in Middle Earth. And, you know, you kind of have to stick to a certain kind of, you know, story style. Whereas Cthulhu Tales, yeah, you're pretty much telling scary stories. So we got a little bit of the little ad here for some of the Cubicle 7 Doctor Who stuff. So let's see what we got in the rulebook here. So we've got some components. It says, how do you play Cthulhu Tales? Yeah, the accusation. Player to the narrators. Come on, Jeff. I need a sip. Let's not start treating English as if it's my second language. Or third. The accusation. So the player to the narrator's left plays cards to make an accusation. A situation that caused a narrator to be confined to the sanatorium. The story. Narrator attempts to tell the real story that led to their sorry fate. That's just, I don't know why, but a Christmas story just popped in my head. What was it that brought you to such a lowly state? It was soap poisoning. Then we got interruptions. The other players can try to disrupt the narrator's story by playing madness cards. After the narrator plays each story card, then we've got the end, and then we've got the reckoning. So it talks about the components, the story cards. One of the things it looked like, now I haven't actually seen them up close, but it seemed like there was some pretty cool artwork in this. So we got the madness cards showing terror icons. So we have blue glass, green wood, red paper, purple metal, and yellow rock. Treatment tokens. So these are the cardboard counters down here. The Cthulhu Tales die. Looks like we got a 12-sided die. The start of the turn, we've got the accusation, talking about the turn sequence, narrating the opening, continuing the story, the role of the narrator, the madness players. Is that kind of like the not ready for primetime players? When a madness card can be played, madness roll, threat rating, major effect, minor effect, deity cards, insanity icons, improvisation, the end of the story, end of the game. So when all players have told one story as narrators, the game will end. And I guess there's an optional rule about awarding the better story. Then we get an example of play. Oh, pretty detailed example of play. Nice. All right, cool deal. So we've got the rules that clocked in, what was that, about 12 pages? Oh no, 16 pages. It's a little longer than I thought it was flipping through it. So we've got the rules. Here are the counters. Looks like these are some of the medications, right? So I'm going to take a guess that's pills, injections, incarceration, or maybe it's straitjacket. Could be a straitjacket with that lock on there. I'm going to take a guess it's supposed to be electroshock. And then confinement? Solitary confinement, maybe? Sort of, along those lines? Or locked away forever? It could be. All right, we got a game board. A little game board here. So let's see what we got. Okay. So there we go. This is where you're going to lay out the 5 cards that make up the story. So those will go here. I see we got tarot card size. All right, cool. We got those. We got 2 of those. And then we got the madness die. Wasn't that what this was? The madness die? And this is cut. They're cut. So we've got, I think that it looks like it's supposed to be Cthulhu with his tentacles, with his neck beard there. And I'm taking a guess that's supposed to be a silhouette of Howard Phillips Lovecraft, I should say. Why did I say Howard Phillip? That's weird. All right, so we've got this. So, wow. Straighten that out there. And I got the different decks of cards. Let's get these open here. For some strange reason, I'm trying to recall. I don't think Hobbit Tales had tarot-sized cards. Maybe I'm wrong. It's been quite a while. Okay. All right, you come on. All right, so we've got those, and then we've got these. All right, let's take a look here. So these are madness cards. These are story cards. All right, so let's look at the story cards first. Uh-oh. It's a little ding out of that card. That's not cool. Yeah, there's enough of them. I don't think that's going to stand out. So we've got the isolated house. Museum. Looks like they're all starting out. They're kind of correlated with various symbols here. So we're getting all the red symbols first. Subterranean world. Uncanny sounds. Ghoulish chanting. And it looks as if each of the cards has a little bit of kind of a flavor text talking about like Lovecraft stories. So, Love of the Bizarre. And it says, Charles Ward was an antiquarian from infancy, no doubt gaining his taste from the venerable town around him and from relics of the past. Isn't it Charles Dexter Ward? The Strange Case of Charles Dexter Ward. Rustic superstitions. Stone monolith. In the center stood a great granite monolith some 8 feet in height. Like the artwork. The artwork's pretty nice. Cardstock's pretty nice too. Strange dreams. There we go. Lovecraft loved cats. And we will not talk about the name of the cat in The Rats in the Walls, okay? We will not discuss the cat's name. Alright, Strange Dreams, Ancestral Diary. I'm not going to look at all these. We'll just kind of take a peek at some. They're kind of sticking together a little bit. Inhuman Vistas. Legend Haunted Town. Infamous Ancestor. Well, right there, talking about the Rats in the Walls. That's actually kind of a trope with some Lovecraftian, is Sins of the Past. His mother was not particularly pleased to own an ancestor like Kerwin. There you go. Carve an idol. Hey, there we go. Straight out of Call of Cthulhu. Yeah, with him he bore a grotesque, repulsive, and apparently very ancient stone statuette. Yep, that's from Call of Cthulhu. Grey Blasted Heath, Mountains, the Mountains of Madness. Artificial Preservation. Oh, a little cool air, huh? Well, alright then. Hellish Mire. Doomed Hills. Expedition. While I'm doing this, I should mention, I still am getting some emails from people asking if I'm going to do the Halloween Spooktacular again this October. Whereas the past, 3 years, I've shared old-time radio shows every night that are, scary, spooky. I'm not. But what I might do is I might tweet a link every night to one of the 3 shows I had done for that date in the past. And the reason why I'm not going to do it is I already did 90 episodes of old time radio shows that were pretty good, pretty spooky. There aren't a ton of them out there, and I don't want to make this like the CBS Mystery Radio Theater, because that's pretty much. Then there's another Canadian show off the top of my head. I'm drawing a blank on it. It's a Black Mass that I could possibly share. But as much as I liked the CBS Radio Mystery Theater, some of the stories aren't all that great. It was cool to hear radio drama in the U.S. from the 70s and early 80s, but still. broken memory. But yeah, I honestly don't think I'm gonna be doing that because, oh, look at this. There's my buddy Dominic McDowell right there. Press reports. For some reason, I want to say, I know John's not with the company any longer. I think he moved on to somewhere else. Could have swore I think this is John Hodgson. I might be completely wrong, but I thought that's... If I look through, I bet I'll find like TS, good buddy TS is there, but I think that's funny. That's pretty funny. All right, so these are the story cards. So these are the cards that the narrator is trying to use. Now, these are the madness cards where the other players are trying to trip up the narrator. So you got priest, strained nerves, the police, wild genius. Now, this artwork is pretty cool. Funeral, lurking fear. That's a pretty good story, the lurking fear. The gibbous moon. So, I should point out, there is a documentary about Howard, well, I should just say H.P. Lovecraft. And Neil Gaiman is one of the experts that they kind of talk to. And it's actually a really good documentary. I can't recall the name of it, but I swear I think it's on YouTube. And Neil Gaiman talks about how flowery some of Lovecraft's language would be, especially early in Lovecraft's career. He's talking about like the gibbous moon, and he kind of just translates what Lovecraft is basically trying to say. Ruinous mansion. Thrilling discovery. There we go, the Necronomicon. Knew that had to be in here. Mental shock. Terrible significance. All right, cool. Fall into blackness. Gunshots. I'm trying to see. There we go. Ghastly experiments. There you go. A little Herbert West, a little Dr. Herbert West there, maybe. Unstoppable decay. Rats. The rats in the walls. Cultist. High priest. Homicidal maniac. What is it? The Strange Old House? I'm trying to remember the title of the story where the protagonist is riding a bike in like through kind of farmlands and stuff like that, and a storm comes up and he seeks shelter in this old farmhouse. It's a rather short story, but it's really bizarre. Where the guy who lives in the house was actually sleeping upstairs, and he comes downstairs and there's this book. It's like book from like the 1700s or something sitting there, and it's got these wood carved images of like just bizarre human sacrifice stuff like that. Hunters from the past. Cool. I like that. And I want to say, I could have swore if I remember right, the title is The Strange Old House. There's Thing from Beyond. That is supposed to be, I'm taking a guess it's supposed to be Amigo. Oh, look at this. Now we got some black cards here. Nyarlathotep. Shog-Niggurath. Azathoth. Yog-Sothoth. And Great Cthulhu. There we go. Cool. Like I said, I'm interested to check this out, especially with Halloween on the horizon. And when I actually interviewed Dominic at Gen Con this year, I had asked to get a review copy of this because I thought it looked pretty cool, and I thought it kind of maybe flew under the radar a little bit. So unfortunately, it's taken me a little bit of time to get to this, but I was kind of holding off on it a little bit because I wanted to kind of hold back on doing the review before Halloween. So, all right, so we've got a little baggie for all the tokens. So we've got the deck of, did I just mix these up? Yeah, I mixed them up a little bit. Okay, so we've got the deck of madness cards. We've got the deck of story cards. boards. We've got the little game board. We've got the tokens, baggie. Whoa, completely forgot the madness die. What am I doing? What am I, crazy? All right, got that in there, the madness die, and then we've got the rules. And that is what we find when we take everything from Cthulhu Tales outside the box. So, of course, I will have a review of Cthulhu Tales in the very near future. It's not going to be next week. It'll be week after that. Because I know I might get it to the table this weekend. Yeah, I'll make sure that I've got the review before Halloween. And when I say before Halloween, I'll make sure that I have it within the first, 10 days of October. Because that way, if it's pretty cool and it seems like a fun game that maybe might be perfect for Halloween, it'll give you some time to maybe, go out and get it or order it online. God forbid I mentioned that. Anyway, so that is it for today's show. As I always like to point out, if you're not watching episodes of The Daily Dope or any of the other Gaming Gang videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com. That's where the website is. For all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV, come on, by now you know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. So that is it for today's show. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend. Have a very safe weekend as well. And I guess I can say that I'll see you next month. And as always, thanks very much for watching. Thanks again for watching The Daily Dope, presented by The Gaming Gang. If you like this episode, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. And if you dig the channel, please subscribe. If you'd like to check out our previous episode, click right here. And if you want to check out a somewhat randomly selected episode, give a click right down here. It'll be like opening a box of Cracker Jacks. You just don't know what you'll get. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'm Jeff McAleer.